for joining. Okay, we'll start with Mangalacharan. Please, whoever knows, you can unmute and recite. Let me put the Mangalacharan on the screen. I think some of the devotees want to memorize this. Please do. And you can take pictures of the screen also.
Okay.
ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः।
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपं कदा मह्यं ददाति वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतं श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं साग्रजातं तं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य राधा कृष्ण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धो जगन्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वैष्णवानुसुते
देवी
प्रणमामि
हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्कायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्येश्वरं गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय
तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः।
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम
हरे
राम
राम
हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So, we will start with the reading. Sorry, just going to mute everyone. Okay, let's get started. So we were reading second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This chapter is called Contents of the Gita Summarized. We read till verse 11 and we have to start from 12 actually. 12, I'm going to skip the purport. I'll just mention the key principle and then we'll go to 13, the one that we memorized today. We discussed this 12 a little bit last time, but let's recite it. This is actually also a memory verse if somebody wants. So let's recite this, read the translation. I'll just discuss the purport quickly and we'll go to the number 13. Na tva evaham jatu nasam Na tvam jatu nasam Na tvam nemi janadipa Na tvam nemi janadipa Na chaiva na bhavishyama Na chaiva na bhavishyama Sarve vayam atah param Sarve vayam atah param. Anyone wants to read the translation?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, ma'am.
Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Debo.
So this verse is actually very important. Please read the purport on your own. Mataji, you can just read this little portion.
Sure.
Read this portion.
Okay. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Individual Person, and Arjuna, the Lord's eternal associate, and all the kings assembled, they are individual eternal persons. It is not that they did not exist as individuals in the past, and it is not that they will not remain eternal persons. Their individuality existed in the past, and their individuality will continue in the future without interruption. Therefore, there is no cause for lamentation for anyone.
Very good. So this verse is talking about a concept called individuality of the soul, okay? Which means that everybody is a separate person. Everybody is a separate entity. including Supreme Lord, who is also a separate supreme person. Okay. We are his servants. We are his separated part and parcels. But we have a separate existence, and he has a separate existence. So everybody is a separate individual entity. So this verse is giving the concept of individuality. Okay. The reason this is important to understand, I'll come to that. But in verse Prabhupada is saying, Krishna is saying that there was never a time when I did not exist, meaning I have always existed from time immemorial. Nobody can say that this is when I was born. There is no time when I came into being, right? I always existed. Nor you, even you always existed. You had an existence of your own from time immemorial. So there is no time when anybody can say that so many thousands or millions of years back Arjuna was born or this particular soul was born. Because soul does not take birth; it is eternal. Nor all these kings. Similarly, all these kings have always existed. Nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. And in future also, these people, me, you, all of these kings, they will also continue to exist just like this. The soul will continue to exist just like this. Okay. So they're all separate. Prabhupada is giving this concept called individuality in the soul, that everybody has their individual separate existence. And this concept where people say we will merge into the Brahman or into the light of the God, into the effulgence coming from the body of the God, into Brahma Jyoti, we just merge and we annihilate our existence is not possible because we can never cease to exist. So the concept is basically there is a group of spiritualists, okay, certain type of yogis who believe that this world is a place of sufferings, just like we believe. So they want to end their existence after after leaving this world. They want to finish, they want to annihilate their existence by merging into the Supreme. They say that we can stop existing, we can cease to exist. But this verse condemns that concept that that is not possible for you to cease to exist. You will always exist. You have always existed in the past, and you will always continue to exist in the future. You cannot cease to exist. So this verse is refuting the Mayavad, what is called Mayavadi theory. You will see that Prabhupada talks about this Mayavadi theory, also called impersonal theory or impersonalism, in Bhagavad Gita quite a bit. Impersonalism means that we are not personal separate people. We have no separate existence. Okay. And that Lord is also not a person. Lord is also not somebody who has emotions or exchanges or activities or names, or he does not have any form or shape to him. He's just this light. He's just this void, this blank thing into which one can merge and finish off our existence. The goal of the soul is to just merge into that voidness, that is called voidism, and just stop your existence altogether. This is their understanding of liberation. This is their understanding of salvation. Okay. Moksha, mukti. But that is not, that is against the concept of Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita refutes that concept that we cannot annihilate our existence. We cannot become void. Okay. And Lord is also not void. That's why he talks about me, aham, me, mom, right? Mai, like that he talks, that I'm a person, I'm a supreme person, and I have exchanges with you. I have different relationships with different people based on how they want to exchange different emotions with me. I perform different activities. I have so many different forms, so many pastimes. So he reveals that he's actually a person. He's not just voidism or this theory of annihilism or nihilism. It's called nihilism or impersonalism, is refuted by Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita and by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita many, many times. Okay. So, so when we say, so this is, you can understand it like this. Let's say, all of us are Indians and we say, hum ek hain, hum sab ek hain. Hum sab ek hain does not mean that we have all merged together into this big blob of some nothingness, like we have just become one. Matlab ek bada sa kuch ek blob ban gaye hain and we have no separate individual existence. When we say hum ek hain, right, that just means that we are very much united, or we have the same purpose, same goals, we have the same path that we are following, we have the same emotions, same mindsets that connect us. We belong to a same land, let's say. We have the same history. We have had the same experiences in the past, but does not mean that we have become one. So hum ek hai does not mean that we've all joined together and our bodies have all become one. It just means that we still have our individual desires, we still have our individual thoughts, actions, emotions. Yes, but there is a big, you know, some foundation that connects us together. That is what it means when we say we belong to the same father. We have the same father, which is Krishna. So our fatherhood is same, but we are still individual separate souls who have their own existence, who have their own desires, who have their own journey, their own path to follow. And we will never just merge into Krishna. We will go back to Krishna, we will be serving Krishna, we will be exchanging different relationships with him, but we will not just merge into his body. So this is the plurality of each soul, the separateness of each soul is emphasized in this verse. So this is the concept mentioned here. In the end, Prabhupada says, the plurality of the individual soul and the Lord is an eternal fact, and it is confirmed by the Vedas as above mentioned. So this is the concept mentioned here. But I want to go into the main teachings of Bhagavad Gita. This is the starting point of Bhagavad Gita. The first lesson, the first teaching given by Krishna to Arjun is the difference between spirit and matter, the distinction between spirit and matter. This is the first lesson of self-realization for any spiritualist, whether they are a devotee, whether they're some kind of mystic yogi, even if they're impersonalist. The first lesson to learn is that we are not this body, we are not matter, we are the spirit soul, we are the spiritual spark, the consciousness. So that concept is now described in detail in next several verses. So this is the verse that you just memorized. Let's do it again. Dehino asmin yatha dehe
Dehinasmini yata
Yachadehe
kaumaram yauvanam jara
Kaumaram
yauvanam
Yovanam
jara
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 tatha dehantar praptar
Tatha Dehantar Praptar
drastatra namuyati dhirastatra namuyati.
yati.
Let's read Prabhupada's purport. Who wants to read the translation and one paragraph?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes.
As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Purport. Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at the death and transmigrates to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjuna on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor for Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new one, thereby rejuvenating their energy. Such change of body account for varieties of enjoyment or suffering according to one's work in life. So Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in the next life, or at least life in heavenly bodies for superior enjoyment of material existence. So in either case, there was no cause of lamentation. Any man who
Let's stop for a second, Pooja. So yeah, we will continue reading. I'll just highlight very, few points here and there. More stress will be on just reading the purport. So one of the points to notice here is there are two words, dehi and deha. Okay. So deha we know is body. Okay. Deha refers to body. And dehi is the person residing in the body. The living entity, the master, the possessor of the body is called dehi, the one who lives in that body. So dehi refers to embodied soul. The soul is not supposed to live in this body. But when the soul lives in the body, it is called dehi. And in English, we say embodied soul. So embodied soul means the soul that has accepted a body, embodied soul, like all of us. We are all dehis, we are all embodied souls. And we are living within this deha, okay? This is one word to understand. I think you all understand the words Kaumar, Yauvan, Jara, and Dehantar. So Kaumar means childhood, Yauvanam means youth, Jara means old age, Dehantar means the end of the Deha or death. And dhira purush, this word we have to understand very, very nicely, because our goal with reading these first few chapters is to become a dhir purush, is to become a sober, steady, undisturbed person. Okay, the person who is not disturbed, muyati means disturbed or bewildered or confused by these changes that happen in the body. Okay, dhiras or sober person is not confused by these changes. This is one thing I wanted to point out. Second, I wanted to point out, so Krishna is reassuring Arjun that all of these souls will still continue. You are just killing their body. Okay, there is no cause for lamentation if the matter is destroyed, because body is just the matter. And these souls will move on to next journey. They will accept next body based on their birth. They will actually get a fresh body. It's like changing of clothes. Your old clothes become tattered, they're all torn and everything. So then you change them for new ones. So they will get a new, fresh body based on their actions. So this line where he says will get next body based on their actions, that is what I wanted to point out. So based on their work in this life, yeah, here. So they will get varieties of enjoyment or suffering in the next body according to one's work in this life. So Bhishma and Drona, the main people that Arjun is worried about killing, so Krishna is reassuring that you're not really killing them, because they will just move on, and you're killing their body because this body has taken on a very sinful journey in this life. Now they are serving these Kauravas, who are very sinful, aggressive, violent people, and Bhishma and Drona need not serve these people. So actually, Bhishma and Drona, if they were to leave this body and they were to die on the battlefield at your hands, that will actually be very wonderful for them, because they will get heavenly bodies and get heavenly destinations. So they will actually enjoy in their next destination. So there is no cause for lamentation, really. Let's keep reading. Anyone wants to read the next two paragraphs?
I can continue.
Actually, just read this portion, Prabhu.
Okay. Any man who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of individual soul, the super soul and nature, both material and spiritual, is called a dhira, or a most sober man. Such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies.
Okay, very good. Let's read from here. Want to read from the individual fragmented soul from here.
The individual fragmented spirit soul is represented by Arjuna, and the supreme soul is a personality of Godhead Shri Krishna. They are not on the same level as it will be apparent in the beginning of the fourth chapter. If Arjuna is on the same level as Krishna and Krishna is not superior to Arjuna, then their relationship of instructor and instructed becomes meaningless. If both of them are deluded by illusory energy, Maya, then there is no need of one being instructor and other the instructed. Such instruction would be useless, because in the clutches of Maya, no one can be authoritative instructor. Under the circumstances, it is admitted that Lord Krishna is the supreme Lord, superior in the position of living entity. Arjuna, whose forgetful soul deluded by Maya.
Very good. So the first step of self-realization is to understand the difference between spirit and matter, okay, between the soul and the body. And the another step, the next level, is to understand the difference between the spirit soul and the supreme soul, which is the Lord. So between the Jivatma and Paramatma, the spirit soul, the individual small spirit soul that all of us are, we are all Jivatmas. We are very small, also called Anuatma. But the super soul or Paramatma is the supreme soul. Okay, and Prabhupada describes that we are his fragmented part and parcels. We are his separated amshas. Okay, we have separated from him. We have descended from the spiritual world, and we were his part and parcel, supposed to be serving the supreme soul or the Paramatma, also called Vibhu Atma. Vibhu means unlimited, Vibhu Atma. And we are very small, minute, so we are called Anu Atma or Jivatma. Okay. So the next step is to understand the difference between Arjuna and the Supreme Soul Krishna, meaning the Jivatma and the Paramatma. So they are not on the same level. Okay, they are both spiritual, no doubt. Neither of these is matter, but even between the spirit souls, there is a difference. The Supreme Soul Paramatma is complete knower of everything. He's omnipotent. He has so many numerous energies. He's pervaded everywhere. He's the controller. He's the supreme maintainer of everything. He's the cause of all causes. So he's beyond our conception. But the individual soul, spirit soul, is very small, and it does not know everything. It does not have different energies. It is not the maintainer of anything really. So, and the most important difference between the two types of souls is that the individual small soul comes under the control of Maya. Okay, this becomes deluded by the illusory energy of the Lord called Maya, or the inferior energy of the Lord called Maya. So we become forgetful. The small soul, the Jivatma, the Anuatma, becomes forgetful of its relationship with the Supreme Soul. And that forgetful soul, the small soul, is called Jivatma. Okay. Whereas the Supreme Soul is never forgetful of anything. Okay. He's always in complete knowledge. He's never comes under the control of Maya. He's always aloof and separate from matter and material energy. Okay. That is why he is the authoritative instructor of Bhagavad Gita. That is why we are listening Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Lord, because he's always the complete knower. He's never confused by Maya, never under the influence of Maya at all. But the small soul forgets, it becomes controlled by Maya. That is why Supreme Soul has to remind the small soul, hey, you do not belong here. You do not belong in this body. You do not belong in this world. You belong with me. So you need to come back to me. You need to make arrangements to return back to me. So the Supreme Soul has to remind us of our relationship with him, because we become forgetful. So this is one of the points Prabhupada has mentioned here. But the key point of this verse was the fact that there is an embodied soul, the soul that is trapped within the body, and such soul can be called a sober person if they understand that they are just living in this body for a small time being, for a short tenure, and during that tenure the body will go through many stages, many changes. The body is matter, and matter changes. So the matter will change, the body will change, and the tendency of matter is to degrade. So the matter will degrade. It will go through childhood when there is a lot of energy, when there is no problems, no diseases, nothing. Then it will go to youth, then it will go to old age, where there is a lot of problems, difficulties, diseases, aches and pains. And finally, it will become so degraded that it will just leave, that the body will stop functioning, and the soul will then discard that body and leave to get another body. So it is a tendency of the matter to change, but the spirit soul does not change. Spirit soul is ever same, and the body is ever changing. Body is temporary. It goes through a lot of degradation and changes. But the steady person is not deluded by that. Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, Vibhatma word which you use, fragmented tiny souls, does it represent us?
Vibhu is Paramatma. Vibhu is
Okay,
not the tiny fragmental soul. The tiny fragmental soul is Anuatma. Anu means small.
okay.
Anu, the word Anu in Hindi and Sanskrit means small. Okay. The
Yeah.
Vibhu means very vast, very something very extensive.
Okay.
So,
Thank you,
but
Mataji.
what was your question about that?
Vibhatma, actually, I was confused. I know you mentioned Jivatma and Anuatma for us, like we are tiny souls. So there was another term you use, Vibhatma. So
Vibhu
I was
Atma.
not Vibhu Atma. Okay, okay.
Yes, Mataji.
So I was, and super souls you mentioned. So that refers to Krishna.
Super
So
soul. Souls nahi hota. Super soul. Super soul is only
okay,
one, because
super soul is
Bhagwan is
only
only
one.
one. The spirit
Okay,
souls can be plural, multiple spirit souls, but super
right.
soul
Only
is
one.
because it is one God. So
Right,
souls.
right.
Hmm?
So
Now the
Vibhu Atma is also one only, refers to Krishna.
yes, exactly,
Okay,
and also called Paramatma.
okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, and these will come more and more, because next many verses will talk about this only. So we'll understand the size of the soul, location of the soul, who is the companion of the spirit soul. So for your practical purposes, while reading this Bhagavad Gita, remember the word spirit soul and super soul. Okay, because this is in English, so spirit soul and super soul are the two words used. Spirit soul for the small individual fragmented part and parcels like us, jivas, and super soul for Paramatma, the Lord. Okay, this is one of the very, very important verses, and this is something we'll try to memorize next time. So 2.14, please recite after me. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. Matra sparshastu kaunteya.
Yeah.
Toshna sukha dukkhada. Shitoshna sukha
Toshna
dukkhada.
Dukkada.
Agamapaino nityas. Agamapaino
Agamapaino
nityas. Tam stitikshasva bharata. Tam stitikshasva bharata. So this verse, just to understand the word for word a little bit. So here Krishna is saying few words to remember, to see here. Sukha dukkha, happiness and distress. Okay. Sheet oshna. Sheet oshna is a combination of sheet plus ushna. Okay. Sheet means cold and ushna means very hot. Okay. So sukh and dukh are like cold and hot seasons. Okay, like winter and summer seasons. Sukh and dukh are like winter and summer seasons. Agma means they come. Apaino means they go. Okay, so just like seasons come and go. Agama means to come, appear. Apaino means to go, to leave, to disappear. Just like seasons come and go, Sukha Dukkha will also keep coming and going in life. Okay. Tam Stitikshasva Bharata. Bharata is another name for Arjun. Okay, he's a descendant of Bharat. So he's called Bharata, this descendant of Bharat. Okay, Bharata. So, oh, Bharata, learn to tolerate them. Tam Stitikshasva. All of them, try to tolerate them. Titikshasva word means try to tolerate. And in the first line, Krishna is saying that they happen because of the contact with the sense objects, contact with the sensory perception. So this we will understand in detail, that Sukha Dukkha happens because of sensory perception. Okay, sensory perception you can understand because of bodily perception, but they come and go like seasons, winter and cold. So just learn to tolerate them. This is what Krishna is saying here. Let's read this and we'll read this full verse. Can somebody read this?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes. Mataji, please feel free to read the whole thing.
Okay. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O Shayan of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Purport: in the proper discharge of duty, one has to learn to tolerate non-permanent appearances and disappearances of happiness and distress. According to Vedic injunction, one has to take his bath early in the morning, even during the month of Magha, January, February. It is very cold at that time, but in spite of that, a man who abides by the religious principles does not hesitate to take his bath. Similarly, a woman who does not hesitate to cook in the kitchen in the months of May and June, the hottest part of the summer season. One has to execute his duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. Similarly, to fight is the religious principle of Kshatriyas, and although one has to fight with some friend or relative, one should not deviate from his prescribed duty. One has to follow the prescribed rules and regulations of religious principles in order to rise up to the platform of knowledge, because by knowledge and devotion only one can liberate himself from clutches of Maya, illusion. The two different names of address given to Arjuna are also significant. To address him as Kaunteya signifies his great blood relation from his mother's side, and to address him as Bharata signifies his greatness from his father's side. From both sides, he is supposed to have a great heritage. A great heritage brings responsibility in the matter of proper discharge of duties. Therefore, he cannot avoid fighting. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So is it a little weird that Krishna was talking about the soul and the body, the spirit and the matter, and now he's talking about tolerance? So how does this happen? Why did this change happen? So what is happening is, and you may have had that question, some of you may have had that question in your mind. I know that I have it a lot still. that Krishna is saying it's okay to kill these people because you're just killing their body and the soul will move on to the next destination, right? But that seems very, it's not the body that, I mean, it's not that Arjun is lamenting because he has a relationship with these people in this particular form, these particular bodies, right? So he's able to perceive Bhishma in that body. He has memories with him, he has connection, relationships with him, he has sat on his lap, he has played with him, he has been chastised by him, he's been taught by him. This particular person had relationships with him through this body, through that particular body that Krishna is now asking to kill. So it's not, it is a matter of great difficulty, great sorrow, great distress that he's having to kill this particular body with which he has so many experiences and memories and relationships and whatnot, right? That is what we lament. I mean, even people that have knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, it's not like they've become heartless and completely discompassionate and hard-hearted and okay, it's fine if somebody left. They're good, only the body died, it's fine. Yes, that is true. So Krishna is acknowledging that fact that even though I'm teaching you these principles, I understand that there will be lot of sorrow with making this decision of killing these people on the battlefield. This will become a lot. This will be very distressful. This will be very agitating, very aggravating for you. Okay, it's not going to be easy. This is not a happy thing to do here. This is not a happy moment. Okay, this is a very difficult thing. But he's saying learn to tolerate. Okay, in the line of duty, there will be many difficult things that will happen. You just have to learn to tolerate. So, then Prabhupada is giving the example of different problems that happen during our day-to-day duties, like a mother who is cooking. This is just a small example. This is not in the same proportion as what Arjun is going through on the battlefield. It's a very smaller example, but it puts things in perspective for us that that Nagarjuna Prabhu, can you lower the volume? It's like coming up here. It's very disturbing. Sorry, what was I saying? Yeah. So he's giving a smaller example to put things in perspective for us, that a mother is cooking in the hot kitchen, even in this month of May, June. She's tolerating it. It is very hot. It is very, very hot in the kitchen, but she's tolerating it. In the line of duty, you tolerate many things. Even now, you all go for work. You have to wake up early in the morning. You have to deal with the people there. Some people may not be very pleasant. Your boss may not be very pleasant. Some of the assignments may not be very convenient, but we don't always look for just convenient and comfort. We overcome that fact. Okay, this will pass. This too shall pass. This is temporary. So Krishna is saying three things here. One, he's saying understand, just learn to tolerate. I know that this will be dukkha for you, but learn to tolerate, because sukha and dukkha are part of life. In line of your duty, unfortunately, you have to do this job. You have to take up this task of killing these people, and it will be very much distressing, but just learn to tolerate. Okay. And he says this type of sukha dukkha will keep coming in your life in one form or the other. Sometimes you will be dealing with different people who give you dukh. Sometimes it's your own body that gives you dukh, or your own mind gives you problems. Sometimes worldly problems give you difficulty. Some sukha or dukkha will keep coming, but tolerate those like seasons. Tolerate those like seasons that come and go. Okay. So one thing Krishna talks about is tolerance. Second thing he talks about is that these things are temporary, like the seasons. He gives the analogy of the seasons. They are temporary like the seasons. And the third thing he talks about is matra sparshas, that they come from sense perception or from bodily perception, okay, which means that it is because of your bodily relationship with them, that, or bodily um, perception with certain things, that we feel sukha and dukkha. The soul does not feel sukha and dukkha. Soul is beyond the dualities of this world. Soul is beyond the success and failures, or the poverty and wealth, and all these dualities, ups and downs of this world, the sukha and dukkha, etc. of this world. Soul is completely aloof from that. Okay, this sukha and dukkha that you feel comes from bodily perception, comes from material perception. Like if I eat something good and I feel sukh, I feel good, then that is from sense perception. If I eat something spicy, something bitter, and I feel bad, take a medicine, I feel bad, then that is that dukkha is from sense perception. Similarly, now again, that is a very small example. Arjuna's problem is much bigger, but we are giving a reference that this bigger problem is also coming just from sense perception, from bodily perception. Okay, so just when things happen in bodily difficulties, discomforts happen in discharge of your duty, just learn to tolerate them, and stay steady in both those situations, in both kind of dualities. So then somebody can say, okay, I understand I should tolerate distress. But why should I tolerate happiness? Happiness should not be tolerated, happiness should be enjoyed. So the problem with that is people that do not tolerate happiness, people that think, oh, I have earned this happiness, I'm going to be overinflated with joy, over excited, and over related. They do not stay calm in happiness. Then when that happiness goes away, because it is the nature of this world for the happiness to go away, when that happiness goes away, they will suddenly be very deflated. They will, because they're so attached to that, they became so attached to that happiness, they became so overjoyous, overinflated in that happiness, that they will suddenly become very deflated when that happiness goes away, and become depressed and completely discouraged, demotivated. Similarly, you have to tolerate distress also, stay composed, even though it is a difficult situation. There will be there are problem, maybe health problem, financial problem, problems caused by people, family, job, boss, whatever. But don't get too demotivated, too discouraged by those problems either. They will also pass. So Krishna is asking us to tolerate both, not only distress, we understand, tolerate, but also happiness, because that will also pass. Don't get too overwhelmed by either, too attached to either. And then he's saying perform duties despite all of these external material dualities. That is the nature of this world. They will come and go, they will happen. These material situations, they are always temporary, they are always fickle, they do not sustain, they do not stay, they come and go. But you are unchangeable, you should stay steady despite external situations, because you're trapped in this body. Understand the nature of this body to cause problems, nature of this world to cause problems. There will always be conflict, quarrels, problems. Just you be steady and sober, stoic, and tolerate them. So this is the main understanding of this verse. Now, tolerance, also just one point a side point I want to share is, tolerance does not mean to get exploited. Because it does not mean that, okay, Duryodhan is causing so much harm to you over and over again, and you keep putting yourself in the way of harm. So this is always a side note given by acharyas, that you have to use your discrimination, because if you are tolerating unnecessary exploitation or aggravation by people, then you probably don't have enough discrimination. So tolerance should be in a way that, okay, this person is harming me, maybe I remove myself from that situation. Tolerance is in the way that I should know that I should have known that these good times will not last forever, or bad times will come. In that way you tolerate that this somebody was bound to cause me problems, so tolerate that way. But you have to externally take some action sometimes. Actually, the whole Bhagavad Gita is about that, taking action against somebody who's repeatedly an aggressor. So tolerance does not mean to get exploited. Tolerance means to understand the nature of this world and remember that good and bad times will keep coming in a circular way. Let's keep going, because the next verse is about the same concept. Then we can pause to take some questions. 2.15. Yam hi na vyatyanti yete, yam hi na vyatyanti yete, purusham purusharshabha, purusham purusharshabha, sama dukkha sukham dhiram, sama dukkha sukham dhiram, so amritattvaya kalpate, so amritattvaya kalpate. Can somebody read this?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Purport: Anyone who is steady in his determination for the advanced stage of spiritual realization and can equally tolerate the onslaughts of distress and happiness is certainly a person eligible for liberation. In the Varna Ashrama institution, the fourth stage of life, namely the renounced order, sannyasa, is a painstaking situation. But the one who is serious about making his life perfect surely adopts the sannyasa order of life in spite of all difficulties. The difficulties usually arise from having to sever family relationship, to give up the connections of wife and children. But if anyone is able to tolerate such difficulties, surely his path to spiritual realization is complete. Similarly, in Arjuna's discharge of duties as a Kshatriya, he is advised to persevere, even if it is difficult to fight with his family members or similarly beloved persons. Lord Chaitanya took sannyasa at the age of 24, and his dependents, young wife as well as old mother, had no one else to look after them. Yet for a higher cause, he took sannyasa and was steady in the discharge of higher duties. This is the way of achieving liberation from material bondage. Hari Bol.
So this is just the continuation of same concept of tolerance, that the people that do not get disturbed by the happiness and distress. And happiness and distress, this concept is applicable to all the dualities of the world. You can impose it to mean success and failure, or wealth and poverty, or whatever ups, sickness and health, whatever ups and downs of life. All the dualities is the nature of this material world. It is not the nature of spiritual world. Okay, these dualities, as soon as we enter into this material world, we enter into a world of dualities. Okay, dvandva bolte hain isko. Dvandva or dualities are only present in the material world. But as a soul, we should try to stay steady, and somebody who can stay steady in this is eligible for liberation. Now somebody can say, how can I be steady in both of these situations? It's not easy. So by meditating on the fact that we are really deeply understanding the fact that we are not the body, we are not this matter, we do not belong to this material world, we are the soul, we are the spirit soul, we belong with the Lord, and this is a very short journey here, and during the course of this journey there are bound to be difficulties, and I just have to tolerate them. It is the nature of this world to give us miseries, to give us dukkhas and sukhas. So just learn, don't become overwhelmed, over inflated in happiness, or over depressed, demotivated during difficulties. So deeply understanding the concept of matter versus spirit, understanding your true nature, is called self-realization. So self-realization means understanding the true self. Who am I? I am not this body, I'm not part of this matter. This world is matter and body is matter, and I do not belong either to the body or to the world. Understanding this it will help to develop tolerance. And then with great Prabhupada is saying, with great determination, with perseverance, okay, just tolerate the situation. It takes a lot of determination. It's not easy, but use your determination and persevere and do your duty. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's example is given. He took sannyas. It was not easy because he took it at the age of 24, but that was very important to take sannyas at that time, because he needed to spread this. The reason we reading this Bhagavad Gita today is because of Lord Chaitanya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spread this Krishna consciousness movement. He started this Sankirtan movement, and he was able to do that because he separated himself from his family and he took sannyas ashram. There is a whole story about that, of course, but the point is sometimes we have to do difficult things in the discharge of our duty for a greater cause. And here Arjuna is being called to duty. We talked about that, call to action, call to duty. And when we are called to duty, we better perform. So there may be difficulties in performing our duty, but you have to deal with it. You have to tolerate. Let's do next thing. Next verse, 2.16. नास्तो विद्यते भावो, नास्तो विद्यते भावो, न भावो विद्यते सता, न भावो विद्यते सता, उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तस्,
Upayorapi
उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तस्,
drishtavanta
त्व अनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः.
The
Anyostatvadarshibi. Who wants to read?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes.
Those who are seized to the truth have concluded that a non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Purport. There is no endurance of the changing body, that the body is changing every moment by the action and the reaction of the different cells in the admitted by modern medical science, and thus growth and old age are taking place in the body. But the spirit soul exists permanently, remaining the same despite all changes of the body and the mind. That is difference between matter and spirit. By nature, the body is ever changing, and the soul is eternal. This conclusion is established by all classes of seers of the truth, both impersonalist and the personalist. In the Vishnu Purana 2.1238, it is stated that Vishnu and his abodes all have self illuminated spiritual existence. Jyotishmi Vishnur Bhavanamni Vishnu. The words existent and the non existent refer only to spirit and matter. That is the version of all seeds of truth. This is beginning of instructions by the Lord of the living entity who are bewildered by the influence of ignorance. Removal of ignorance involves the
Establishment.
reestablishment of the eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable, and the consequent understanding of the difference between the part and the parcel living entities and the supreme personality of Godhead. One can understand the nature of supreme by thorough study of oneself, the difference between oneself and the supreme being understood as the relationship between the part and the whole.
बस माताजी यहाँ तक पढ़ते हैं.
Okay.
Stop here.
You go.
So, thank you for reading. So this is saying that people that are seers of the truth, so the seekers of the truth, the spiritualists, right, that are not after the things of this world, that are seeking the absolute truth. And this is what we are seeking as well. We are seeking absolute truth, Param Satya, which is in the pages of this Bhagavad Gita. So those who are the seers or the seekers of truth, they have concluded that non-existence. So there are two words here. Please look very carefully. Two words. Asat and Sat. You see the two words on the screen? Asat and Sat. Asat refers to matter or body. It is non-existent. It's referred to as non-existence. Non-existent meaning something that does not. It is matter. It is temporary. It will go away. It will degrade and completely disappear. So it is really non-existent. So that is the material body. Of that asat, basically that asat or non-existence, there is no endurance, meaning there is no, it will not sustain, it will not live forever, it will change and go away. But the sat, the eternal, sat means eternal, okay? Sat or eternal, which is the soul, it has endurance. Endurance means it does not change. It is always there. It always exists. It does not get damaged, destroyed. Nothing happens to it. It is unchangeable. Okay, it is imperishable, indestructible. That soul, there is no change, meaning it endures, it sustains, it maintains itself. This is then concluded by studying the nature of both. So by studying spirit and matter, we understand spirit is sat, matter is asat. Sat or spirit is always has endurance, it maintains, it sustains, it is eternal. And asat or matter gets destroyed, it is perishable, it is non-existent. So these are the words existent and non-existent, referring to spirit and matter. So that is the first thing Prabhupada has described. Then he's talking about, remember, the first step is to understand the difference between spirit and matter. Second step is to understand the difference and relationship between the spirit soul and the supreme soul or the super soul. So difference between oneself and the supreme. And when you understand the difference between the two, then the spirit soul, meaning oneself, meaning small jiva, me, I, will start establishing a relationship with the Supreme. So the perfection of life is to re-establish the eternal relationship between the jiva, which is the worshipper or the servant, and the worshipable or the master, the super soul. So that is our goal. So first of all, we are starting our journey by understanding difference from spirit and matter. Because right now the problem is we think we are this body. So first of all, we are breaking that notion, that false understanding, that false perception which is created by this world that we are this body. First of all, we are breaking that, and then we will start developing a relationship with the, not with the world, but with the Supreme Soul, the Paramatma, the worshipable Lord, who is the Supreme Person. Okay, let's read a couple more if possible. This one, let's read this one. Maybe we'll stop after this. Avinashi tu tadvidhi, Avinashi tu tadvidhi, Yena sarvam idam tatam, Yena sarvam idam tatam, Vinasham avyayasya, Vinasham avyayasya, Na kaschid kartum arhati, Na kaschid kartum arhati. Can someone read?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes.
That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy the imperishable soul. Purport. This verse more clearly explains the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. Anyone can understand what is spread all over the body. It is consciousness. Everyone is conscious of the pains and pleasures of the body in part or as a whole. This spreading of consciousness is limited within one's own body. The pains and pleasures of one body are unknown to another. Therefore, each and every body is the embodiment of an individual soul, and the symptom of the soul's presence is perceived as individual consciousness. This soul is described as 1/10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair point in size.
You don't have to
The,
read the verse, Mataji. Prabhupada is basically giving reference from where he got the size of the soul. Prabhupada will
uh,
give two references.
the upper point of the hair is divided into 100 parts, and again each of such parts is further divided into 100 parts. Each such part is a measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul. Similarly, the same version is stated. There are innumerable particles of spiritual atoms which are measured as 1/10,000th of the upper portion of the hair. Therefore, the individual particle of spirit soul is a spiritual atom smaller than the material atoms, and such atoms are innumerable. This very small spiritual spark is a basic principle of the material body, and the influence of such a spiritual spark is spread all over the body as the influence of the active principle of some medicine spreads throughout the body. This current of the spirit soul is felt all over the body as consciousness, and that is the proof of the presence of the soul. Any layman can understand that the material body minus consciousness is a dead body, and this consciousness cannot be revived in the body by any means of material administration. Therefore, consciousness is not due to any amount of material combination but to the spirit soul. In the Mandaka Upanishad, the measurement of atomic spirit soul is further explained. The soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. This atomic soul is floating in the five kinds of air: prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. The spirit is situated within the heart and spreads the influence all over the body of the embodied living entities. When the soul is purified from the contamination of the five kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is exhibited. The Hatha Yoga
We can stop here, Mataji. So we'll just discuss this. So this is saying soul is avinashi. Okay, avinashi, it's a very common Hindi word also. It means imperishable. And avyayasya. Avyayasya also refers to imperishable. So jiska vyay nahi hota. Vyay means to get spent or get destroyed, get used up. But avyaya means imperishable, that does not perish, that does not get spent or destroyed or used up. Avyasya or avinashi both refer to imperishable. So this verse, Krishna is saying that this soul, spirit soul, now we are understanding the minutiae about the soul, the size, everything. You will see that Krishna will mention location also. But right now we are focused on, there are two things focused on here. One is the symptom of the soul, the other is the size of the soul. So Krishna is saying this soul pervades the entire body, okay? And this, the symptom of the soul is described as consciousness. So Prabhupada is describing when soul pervades, when soul enters into the body, when soul accepts a body, the whole body is surcharged with consciousness, okay? You can compare this with like electricity in the bulb. Hmm? As soon as the current enters, the filaments light up in the bulb, the whole body lights up. Similarly, the consciousness lights up the body. And as soon as the soul leaves the body, that same body becomes a dead body. So consciousness is the symptom of the soul. Okay, that soul leads to this whole consciousness to spread over the body and animates the body, means it makes the body work, it makes the body do things. And when soul leaves, the consciousness is gone, the body is dead, it cannot move. And Prabhupada is saying, no matter what material arrangements you make, nobody can revive a dead body. Nobody can bring the life back into the dead body. If the soul has left, the body will degrade, decompose over time and cannot become alive, animated again. So for the soul to become alive and for the body to become alive and animated, the soul has to be present within it. So that soul is leads to this spreading of consciousness within the body. That consciousness is called the symptom of the soul. Okay. So when somebody is alive, functioning, doing things, that means they are the body, that means the soul is still present in the body. Okay. And that soul is indestructible. It cannot be destroyed. It is imperishable. No one can destroy that imperishable soul. Second thing Prabhupada has described in the verse is the size of the soul. And he has given two references from the scriptures where this size comes from. Please know this, we should know. It is 1/10,000th part of the tip of the hair. Okay, 1/10,000th of the tip of the hair. That is the size of the soul. Okay, so it's a very, Prabhupada is calling it spiritual atom. It is an atom or atomic soul. So the spiritual atom or atomic soul is much smaller than the material atom. We know that material atom size has also been described. And in fact, atom has further been broken up into various elements of the atom, neutron, proton, electron, all those things. But the size of the spiritual atom or the atomic soul is much smaller than the material atom. Okay. And towards the end, Prabhupada is talking about the 5 kinds of air. Air matlab pran, in which the body is floating. So pran, udan, apan, vyan, saman, like that Prabhupada has mentioned. There are 5 pranas or life airs in which the soul is floating in the body. And certain yoga systems focus on purifying these life airs because this life air is surrounding the soul. Soul is situated in this life air. It is encircling the soul. So if we purify this life air, then we feel spiritually surcharged also. So Hatha Yoga is one of the system in which one focuses on breathing practices. That's why breathing practices are mentioned as part of Hatha Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, because that purifies the life airs. And the soul which is present within those life airs gets uplifted. So this is also a mechanism for liberation of the soul, because the more the more the airs are cleansed of material contamination, the consciousness or the soul becomes cleansed also from the material atmosphere and becomes eligible for liberation. So that is the Hatha Yoga system. But the main thing I wanted to focus on was the fact that the soul enters the body, leads to consciousness or animation of the body starts acting, starts working and becomes alive. And when the soul leaves, the body becomes dead. इसलिए हम बोलते हैं ना, this person has left the body. So who has left the body? The soul has left the body. The jiva has left the body. Okay, I think we'll stop for today. Let's take some questions, some discussion. Next 2 verses are not very big. But if you have questions, I would rather take those. So please share any realizations, questions, corrections, anything.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I just have a quick question.
Yes, Prabhu.
So, Mataji, as we were discussing, to understand the presence of soul in our body, we have to detach from our bodily attachments, right? So, when I see this in this point of view, I get these desires. So, these desires are what making me to attach to my body. So, how do I overcome with these desires and get detached from the body to understand the presence of soul?
Very bold, very nice. Very nice question, Prabhuji. Yeah, so it's our desires, and that's why we keep accepting one body after another to fulfill our desires. Whatever desires we have in this body, if they were not fulfilled, we will get another body to fulfill those desires. So, Prabhuji, those concepts will come further in Bhagavad Gita, but the basic principle is to convert our desires from material to spiritual. As a jiva, we cannot become completely desireless, and it is not recommended to become desireless either. We should have desires, but what is done is we dovetail those desires towards achieving the perfection of life, towards Krishna. So we convert our material, bodily oriented desires to spiritual desires. In second chapter, this chapter that we are reading, the last verse talks about controlling the desires. It talks about how if there are so many rivers entering into the ocean, right, then it's very agitating. Similarly, if there are so many desires entering into the mind, it is very agitating for the mind. So we should try to control those desires. We should curtail some of the material unnecessary desires that are not beneficial, that cannot be used in service of Krishna. We should try to cut down on those, and slowly, it's a gradual process, very slow gradual process, but try to increase those desires that are catered towards serving Krishna, serving devotees. Increase those desires and slowly curtail the material desires. And material desires, whatever you have, try to transform them into spiritual desires. Like if you like to eat good food, let's say you have desire that I want to be the, I'm just giving an example, you want to be the best chef in the world, you like to cook a lot. Why not cook bhoga for devotees? Why not cook bhoga in the temple? Why not cook, serve the, invite Vaishnavas and serve them and then eat yourself? So in this way, you're purifying that same desire, which was otherwise a material desire, into a spiritual desire. So anything you want to do in this world, anything you want to achieve, accomplish, so many ambitions people have, slowly try to divert them, dovetail them towards Krishna and devotees services, and they become purified. And slowly our material desires start becoming purified as well. That's the short of the long and short.
Thank you, Mataji.
It's a long process, and we are all in that process of doing that. Anybody else has any questions, corrections? You want to share something from the class?
In the 14th one, when we are reading that whether it is summer or winter, we have to get up, take bath in winter, and summer we have to cook. And I just realized I get up early, and by the time my kids and they get up, I get tired like 4 5 hours, and I'll be tired. And then I feel like making them dosha. And then okay, when I read this one, no, my duty until the class finishes, it will be 1 hour. No, let me get up. I just made no, don't avoid or postpone or it's duty. They'll be hungry, so I just got up and did my work. Thank you,
Haribol.
Mata.
Yes, Mataji. That's the Brahmanical culture to clean the body also. But yeah, it is just becoming harder and harder, these things in Kali Yuga, but we need some encouragement sometimes from scriptures, reminders from great personalities like Prabhupada. That body also, we need a little push. We need encouragement to do the right things, to exercise, to clean the body, to eat healthy, all those bodily things also, we need encouragement. Thank you.
One more also, just it's like an example I want to say. Uh, when I was in like school, college time, like where we are like sometimes stubborn or something, we don't listen or anything. My mom, dad, they come and tell, and this school go. And but my brother is so clever that we have a movie, like movies. We are very much influenced with the movies, right, ma'am? So
Hmm.
in Telugu, or like we have Savitri, like NTR, old like
Mhm.
67. So then heroine is also Savitri, like black and white. Then So she shows that much peace and calm and very, very down to earth. Like she is. That she is. They made a movie also on her.
Hmm.
Savitri. She Nata Shiromani. They say like a diamond on the head, like Shiromani.
Hmm.
So my mom and dad, they will come say they'll go, but I don't listen. But my brother and he'll say, he doesn't say, he won't scold me. He can manipulate people, I think. Then he'll say, see Savitri, how patient she is, she'll get up and do and work. Then I don't, I just get up and do my work.
Hmm. Yes, Mataji, yeah.
So,
Whatever our duties, even though it's uncomfortable, we should discharge those.
like
Thank you
how
for sharing.
to, like, even if we see her, we remember her, we just transfer. Oh, she's so good. Why can't we avoid? Why should we avoid our work? Okay, let's get up and do. That's the
Hmm.
thing. Yeah, Hare Mata.
Very well. Thank you. So the concept of tolerance, actually we'll memorize that verse next time, because we have to tolerate a lot on a daily basis. That's actually a very important concept for us. You have to tolerate people, you have to tolerate situations, you have to tolerate various events, things that happen in your life, problems that body gives, mind gives, all these things you have to tolerate. Good and bad, both you have to tolerate, as Prabhupada and as Krishna is saying, good and bad, both tolerate both. So in this regard, there is a quick story. There was a king who told his ministers, his birthday was coming. He said, I want someone to give me a gift which makes me sad when I'm happy and makes me happy when I'm sad. So let's see who can come up with such an intelligent gift. Let's see who's that intelligent person who will give me this kind of gift. So everybody started racking their brains on what they can do. How can they come up with this kind of gift? Something that makes him sad when he's happy, or when he's happy he becomes sad. How would that work? So this one of the intelligent ministers, he came up with the idea, and he gave the king a golden ring on his birthday. Okay, so he said, this is the gift that I came up with, and I guarantee you that this will make you happy when you're sad and sad when you're happy. So king looked at the ring. He said, oh, this looks like a ordinary ring. What is so how can it do those things? So he said, look at the inscription on the ring. So on the ring there was an inscription which said, this too shall pass. Okay, which means that if you're happy right now, you will realize, oh, this is not going to last forever. So you will become sad thinking of that. And if you're sad, you will become cheerful knowing that, okay, this sadness is not going to last forever. This too shall pass. So he said, always remember this sutra, this fundamental principle given in Bhagavad Gita, that you just tolerate each and every situation. More than our duties and things, we are still able to do, especially in the material world, we are able to do our duty, because that's our livelihood depends on them, our medical insurance, our our household depends on on that livelihood. So it's not a problem for most people to go to work and do their duties in course of the day. Like professional duties, people are able to discharge very nicely, actually. So I feel like this concept of tolerance is more applicable in terms of tolerance of unnecessary thoughts, unnecessary emotions, unnecessary desires, tolerating with different types of people, tolerating different types of people, different types of difficult situations in life. That's where the tolerance is more needed in our case, because we are people are very wonderful these days with actually their professional duties, because that's where money comes from. So nobody has problem going to work and doing those things, because that's where all the that's what is sustaining you in this world. But spiritual duties we decline. For example, we don't wake up to chant, or we don't attend festivals or programs, or do our services that are assigned to us. So spiritual duties, because they can we think that those are negotiable. It's okay to not do them. They are very, we put them on sideline. We do not give them crucial importance. But material duties are very crucially important to us, because they maintain our body. So I often feel that this concept is not very applicable in that terms anymore, because we have no problem discharging bodily or professional duties. But where spiritual duties are concerned, people shy, they let them take a back seat and not become too involved or too aggressive in there. But even discharge of those duties or dealing with devotees, there will be difficulties, and we have to tolerate with determination. So Krishna is saying tolerate with perseverance, persevere, and with determination, tolerate. At material world also, we tolerate people. When problems come, we continue in the same job, even though there are some people giving us difficulty. But in spiritual life, when somebody starts giving us difficulty in the temple or amongst devotees, it's not easy, because that can be done away with. Those do not sustain our life, our body. So we think, okay, it's fine, I can do away with that. Just some points to meditate. So because I was thinking about this, where do I apply this point? So tolerating my mind's urges, thoughts, emotions, and desires, where I thought I can apply this point. Dealing with situations, health problems, unpredictable things that happen in life, you have to tolerate those. But also tolerating difficulties that come on spiritual path is where I thought we have to apply this. Dealing with difficult situations in spiritual life that come, those also we have to tolerate with determination. Same determination or more that we show in material life, actually. That's all I wanted to share. Thank you everyone for joining. Any last minute thoughts, questions?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Hare
Yes,
Krishna
Prabhuji.
devotees. This is Ravi Shankar. Mataji, I was just contemplating on this tolerance part, and then a couple of things more came in my head, which I wanted to share. Like in this Sukha and Dukha that Krishna mentions in the 2:14. And then he gives the example to relate is the Sardi and Garmi, like Shita and Ushna. So I have heard one place like, with our gross sensory perception, we perceive the cold and heat. Then with our finer sensory perception, we perceive the sukh and dukh, like as you mentioned, the dualities. And then man and apman, the honor and dishonor. That's even the higher than the little bit mind level. So if we tolerate these three things from gross to finer, and try to tolerate and work on it and contemplate on it, that's where we become the dhir, and then it's kind of path of being a dhir purus. So I just wanted to share that, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hari Bol. Wonderful. Last point I'll share, then we'll stop the call. Sukha, Dukha, the origin of these words is very, very interesting. Kha means space, okay? Kha means space. Sanskrit mein kha ka matlab hota hai space, ether ya space. Su matlab good, du matlab bad. So Sukha means the space around us is very good. Our environment, our atmosphere around us is very good. So we feel Sukha. Dukkha means the space, whether it's our mind space, subtle body space, gross body, some difficulty is going on, giving us distress. So dukkha, bad space. Okay, we are in a bad space. The soul is surrounded by subtle body, gross body, and they are having some difficulty, some discord is going on. So dukkha. So this sukha or dukkha exists only in the material world, because kha or space is a material element. Okay, in spiritual world, actually there is no kha, there is no material element kha. So there is no sukha or dukkha, there is only one word for that spiritual bliss. It's called anand. Okay, so anand ka jaise sukha ka counterpart word hai dukkha, sukha ka opposite word hai dukkha. Anand ka koi opposite word nahi hota, because anand refers to spiritual bliss. And there is nothing opposite to spiritual bliss or anand, because there is nothing dual in the spiritual world at all. There is nothing opposite or contradictory in spiritual world at all. So that's why our aim should be to get away from all this bad space around us, sukha dukha, and get to the anand of the spiritual world. In this life also, in this world also, we can experience anand by engaging in services, by engaging with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, reading Krishna's pastimes, Hari Katha, Hari Prasad, and all the chanting of the names of the Lord, all the process that Prabhupada has given. We can experience the bliss through those things, even in this life, while in this material world also. So if you want a taste of that bliss, please start taking up this process of Krishna consciousness. Okay, we'll stop. Thank you everyone for joining. Vancha kaltirubhischa kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Gurupe Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Sarvadaya Namo. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you everyone for joining. We'll meet next time.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.